The Russians have increased their forces from 100,000 to at least 350,000, maybe 500,000. They're resupplied, they're rested, they're trained, plenty of arms, plenty of ammunition. And by the way, when the Ukrainians are coming in, making these advances that we all read about in the Times, they're getting slaughtered by Russian artillery. Now, are U.S. weapons getting in? A few, yeah. And we had a big, they killed 60 or maybe more Russian soldiers in a barracks a couple of weeks ago. But first of all, there are relatively few of these weapons. They don't have that much ammunition. And when you read about 10, 20, $30 billion of U.S. arms to Ukraine, here's what's really going on. The U.S. is shipping obsolete weapons and surplus, like stuff we've had around that we don't really want. We're giving that to the Ukrainians with fancy names, and it does have some high-tech capability. And the money is going to Raytheon, Lockheed Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and others to build new weapons for us. So this is like, if you're in the fashion business, I'm dumping last year's fashions on somebody at a cut rate price, and I'm buying new stuff from Milan and Paris. That's what we're doing. So the $50 billion or whatever, some of it's going to Ukraine because you got to pay oligarchs in cash. But a lot of it's we're giving them our surplus and buying new stuff for ourselves. That's what's really going on. So it's a little bit of a weapons industry scam. Now, meanwhile, the Ukrainians are getting these, the instruction manuals are in English. They don't read or speak English, at least not very many of them. So you got to send in the Poles. The Poles have lost over 1,000 troops. They put Ukrainian uniforms on, but they're Polish. And I'm sure there are a certain number of U.S. technical advisors, quote unquote, and UK trying to explain these weapons. But you bring them across the Polish border. First problem is the Polish railroads and the Ukrainian railroads run on two different gauges of tracks. You can't run the trains right across the border. You got to unload everything and load it on. Then you got to put it in a depot. Then you got to get it to Eastern Ukraine where it's needed. Oh, by the way, the Russians have knocked out the power grid. So how do you run an electric train with no electricity? How do you run a diesel train with no fuel? The answer is you don't. And then when they get there, the Russians have very good intelligence, satellite imaging, and they blow them up. So the Ukrainians are getting slaughtered. Their weapons they get some use. The Russians are using hypersonic missiles, not nuclear, but hypersonic, cruise missiles, and they're getting ready for a major winter offensive. And the Russians know a thing or two about winter warfare. The only reason that hasn't happened yet, they need the ground to freeze. And as I say, and weather is a big factor in war. It has been milder than normal, and they're not quite at that point. So it might be another month, depending on the weather, before the Russians feel that the ground is solid enough to roll their armor and mobile artillery and the rest. But I would expect that to be happening in a matter of weeks, and at that point there won't be much left of the Ukrainian armed forces, and they're pretty beaten down as it is. But there's another game going on, just to take it to the next level. The Poles have their eye on Western Ukraine. They're like thinking, can we reconstitute the Polish-Lithuanian Empire of the 16th century? And Poland they've been sliced and diced more than most recipes. So they would like to take Western Ukraine, maybe up to Lviv. Belarus has got their eyes on some territory. Russia's already taken the Donbass and Crimea. They want Odessa. They want more. So you're going to be left with a landlocked rump state with no military, utterly dependent on everybody else for energy, and not really the best agricultural land. And what's the U.S. going to do? Start World War III? I mean, the problem is Biden is, my wife hates me to admit it, but I was a registered lobbyist in Washington. I ran a Washington office in the 1990s. So I spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill, and I knew all these senators. And Biden was always regarded as kind of not that bright. He had a good persona, if you will, but just not that smart. Now he's got some serious cognitive decline. That's obvious. He's just turned 80. But the thing I've learned about him that wasn't clear before, he's just a mean son of a bitch. I mean, he's a nasty guy. And he's surrounded by a bunch of warmongers, Victoria Nuland, Tony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Susan Rice, and others. And they have a delusion that they can actually depose Putin.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple-digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?